Hey everybody, it's Rachel from Moments to Milestones, and I'm going to put together a winter card kit. This is Feeling Frosty from Echo Park. We use their paper line, and we use a lot of stamps and dies from Lawn Fawn as well. So these are the cards we're going to put together today. This is what the kit looks like. Inside you get instructions with pictures to follow along, and these supplies we used at the back. So we will go ahead and start with this one here. Happy Winter Wishes. And we are going to start with a little bit of coloring. So the nice thing about this is that these are snowmen and they're white. So I'm going to use just a Crayola colored pencil set today to color everything in. And I'm going to use pink for his nose instead of orange, and a little bit of gray just to add some shadows. So I will start, I am using the magenta, and I'm just going to color in the nose. No shading, just coloring it straight in. And then I'm also going to need black for the buttons, or you could use pink again or any other color you want to use. I'm just going to use black today. All right, and then I'm just going to use some gray, and I'm not going to use Gamsol or anything. I'm just going to add some lines on the edge, and I'll just create like shadows and let you know that it's white. All right, so that's good for me. I'm going to set those guys off to the side, and then we also have a little bird to color. And I have mine blue, so I believe I use this blue with that same pink and some gray to tone it down a little bit. So you just color him in. And I'm going to give him a pink beak as well, why not? And I'm going to use a softer hand for the scarf. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of gray over it. And it just takes the blue down so it's not so bright. All right, and he's ready to go. I'm going to get some scissors, and you have two images that have been stamped onto pattern paper for you that you're going to need to fussy cut. So these images are from that same stamp set. I think it's called Frosty Friends with the Snowmen. And they do have dies, but I wanted to use pattern paper so that everything coordinated, and we didn't have coloring to try to match. And with that die, it gives the white outline, and I did not want that either. So we're just going to quickly right up to the black edge of that stamped image. And then because this paper is white at its core, you can always take a black marker and go around the outsides, and that'll help your image not look like you fussy cut it. So I'm going to do the scarf. And I'm not going to worry about those little ends. Nobody's going to know they're not there. So those pieces are ready, and now we'll go ahead and put our card together. So I'm going to start with this pink, and I am going to put that onto the white card base. I want it to open like that from the bottom. All right, and then you'll have a piece that goes all the way to the bottom. I'm just working with a scrap here, but it's going to be hidden anyway. And you're going to have a very thin pink border all the way around. Okay. And then you have two different snowy hillsides. These are Lawn Fawn dye, the stitched hillsides, and we cut them out of white, so they're snowy. And you're gonna put, there's one with a couple waves and it's thicker, and then you have a thinner. So it's gonna look like this when you're done, but we're gonna start with this one. And you may want to pull it up a little bit. It's entirely up to you. You can kind of place them, and then that circle is going to tuck in behind that snowbank. So you can play around with if you want it a little bit thicker, or it's up to you. All right, so I'm gonna come up about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the pink, and this white goes edge to edge. If you want it to line up with the black, you're gonna need to trim it down. So we're gonna put that hillside down first, and then you're gonna have a circle. Most of you have a full circle. If you have the edge cut off, we're just gonna hide it behind this snowbank, so, and your snowman, so it's gonna, nobody's gonna know that you have a portion like so. But that's what we're gonna do. But before we put that on, if you'll notice on mine, I have black circles inside my pink circles. I was trying to tie the two papers together. I felt like it really stuck out with just pink. So I am just taking a Zig Millennium. It's really just a journaling pen. It's a 0.05, and I am just gonna draw a circle inside each circle. It's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. That's kind of the fun of it. We're just adding that black color into that paper. All right, so that's everywhere that it is. And so I'm gonna go ahead and stick that down. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of use this as a guide, so I hide my ends that are cut off, but if that's not you, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm not gonna leave any pink at the bottom. You could if you wanted. I'm gonna totally cover mine in white. And so I'm just gonna slide that and center it, and I'm happy with that. And then next you have a vellum circle in your kit, and that is going to go over and kind of dole back those black circles a little bit, that whole pattern. So because it's vellum, we have to be strategic about where our adhesive is. And so I'm going to hide it behind that snowbank there. And so I'm just going to lift that up. And then when we put our sentiment and the snowman on there, we can add some more adhesive to make sure that vellum is on there good. But for now, I'm just gonna hide it there. And then I'm gonna put that snowbank on. So I'll line that up. Okay, all right, so there's that portion of the card. Now we're ready to layer up our snowman. So you shouldn't have one that looks like that, but I'm just gonna hide him. He didn't stamp very well. And I have those both popped up. So I think what I'm gonna do first is glue them together and then pop them all up at once. That sounds like the easiest solution. A little glue there. And I kind of want him in front of him like so. We are trying to hide, we only have 3 arms, so we're hiding this other guy's arms so we didn't have to cut it out. And it's gonna go like that. So I'm gonna flip them over and put some foam on the back. Okay. And then they are gonna go about right there. Okay. And now we have the hat and the scarf that we fussy cut, and we have the little arms as well. So I'm going to start with this guy's hat. I'm just gonna put a little glue on the bottom. That on like so. And if you wanted, you could have put that on first and make sure there's some foam behind. I think I'm actually just going to tuck in a small foam square behind. Pull the backing off of that. I will just, well, there it goes. It's just going to come off. It's not dry yet. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to put his scarf on as well. So you may want to do the scarf first. I'm just going to tuck it in behind there like that. All right, and then we have the arms. So you should have two shorter ones and a longer one. So I'm actually going to pick them up with my tweezers. And I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on the end. And then his hand, you could have it pointing up or down. I have his pointing down. And then the other two I have up. So I'm actually just going to put a dot there and a dot there. There's one. And there's the other. Oops. Perfect. All right, so now we need the sentiment on there. I'm actually going to start with the winter wishes. So I'm going to put some foam on the back of that. I pop that up as well. All right, so I want that coming just over that little snowman's head there. Okay. And then the happy is going to fit over that, like so. And then our little bird. So let me some adhesive on that. And you don't want to get too much because we're dealing with vellum again, and you'll be able to see if it all squishes out. And that will also hold that vellum down there. And then our last little bit's going to be that little bird. I'm just going to get a little foam square to put on the back. And he's going to sit right on top of our winter wishes. Like so. And that will complete that card. Our next card is Have a Cozy Day. This is a slimline card. I'm going to get out my kit. Before you get started, I'm going to say one thing about these kits. So half of them were cut one way and half of them were cut the other. So some kits are going to have this snowy scene paper in a full rectangle, okay? So just the nature of the way that paper worked, it's a full sheet of paper with a snowy scene. And when I designed this card, I just cut that strip and put it under there. Well, it didn't play out that way when I kept cutting strips. So some of them I have cut squares for you that will fit in and give the same look. And some of you are going to just have that scene that's going to fit right in there. So if you're lucky enough to get one of those, awesome. If not, you're going to have to do what I'm going to do, which is just use this as a guide and glue them on. It'll be fine. So we're going to start by putting this teal snowflake paper onto the card base. So that'll go straight on. And now we're going to use this. This is going to get centered in there. And then we have these three scenes. So you should have one of these snowy scenes that has a house on it. And that one's going to go in the middle. Okay. And then the other ones you can do as you like. So one thing I tried to keep in mind is I have a bear here and two bears here. Well, I know that when I created this card, I was kind of hiding, like, behind there might be a polar bear or I'm not quite sure what was behind there, but I was hiding it. And the same here. So you may want to strategically lay these so that you could do that same thing. Like maybe you don't want this moose head showing. So instead of my bear popping out of that side, I could have him pop out of that side. Okay, that's kind of what I'm talking about. So it's up to you. But using this as a guide, we're going to tuck those in. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm not gluing it to the back of the white because I have my white popped up. Now, if you don't want to pop it up, you could glue it to the back, but you also need to keep in mind that we're going to stick down those bears, and you wouldn't be able to tuck them in there if you just glued them straight to the white. So I'm going to start with the house because that goes in the center. And I have my white right where I want it, and I'm just going to tuck that in there. And with the wet glue, you can move it around if you don't wait as long as I did to stick it down. Perfect. Okay, so that one's good. All right. And then we're going to play with this and this. I'm going to put this bigger one up top. I'm going to see where I want that to be. And I am fine. I kind of like the little bird. That right there. So I'm just gonna put a little adhesive behind it, stick it down. Make sure that's still a good fit. Yep. All right, and then this last one is gonna go like so. Okay. So nobody's gonna know you didn't have a full strip there. If you have the whole strip, just center it onto the teal. If you don't, you're gonna have to do what I just did. All right. So now, before I stick this on, I'm going to place my bears, but we did not color them yet. They don't really need colored if you don't want to, but I did the same thing as I did with the snowman. I'm going to use some gray. I'm going to color in the little nose on all of them and just add some shadows. Just some lines around its face will be enough. We're not going to see his feet. Same here. All right. So one more thing. I got ahead of myself. We need to cut out this. So you can do two things. You can just color in the scarf, but I wanted it to match that paper perfectly, and the easiest way to do that is to do some paper piecing. So I stamped it onto that same teal paper, and now I'm just going to cut up to the black line and stick it over a white one that we already have stamped and die cut. So let me stick that on there. All right, and that goes on to the large bear. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And now he's all warm and cozy. Okay, so in this card, there's not really anything I'm looking to hide here, so I'm probably going to stick with, although I would like the trees. Instead of no trees, I like the trees. So I'm going to put them on this side, hide that moose. The only reason why that doesn't work is because then my little bear can't go that way. So I think we'll just do that. And then this little guy is going to come from here. And you may have to cut him off or not. All right, so I'm happy with that. Let me get those down. And you could switch, you could have the big bear and little bear on the bottom or on the top and put the little guy at the bottom. It's really up to you. I guess the one thing to know is that you cannot change the way he's grabbing at his mama there. So I'm going to cut those legs off, so I don't want them to stick out. And I'm actually going to have him peek out of the hole. And then I'll put the little one on. Like so. Okay. Now I'm going to pop up my frame. So I just have some, this is a low profile foam tape. And you don't have to pop it up if you don't want to. It'd be fine without it. All right, I'm peeling off the backing of that, and I'm going to go ahead and place down that foam backed frame. Just going to get it centered. And this foam, once it grabs, so I like to kind of grab it if I can and let it hover over the top until I get it where I want it, and then just drop it. And that's nice and smooth. Okay, and we're going to finish off with the sentiment and these little snowflakes. So you have like 4 larger ones here, and then you have 3 small ones on this Post-it tape. And then your sentiment goes at the bottom. You could absolutely play with the placement of that. If you'd like to have it up here, you could, or right here would be fun. It's up to you. I do have mine popped up. I think I'm going to use some more of that low profile foam so it's not too tall. And I'm just going to stick, actually I think I'm going to put it up here this time, just so you can see different placement of that. And then we'll go ahead and put down our snowflakes. I have the largest one up here on the corner. Another one here. You can also use these snowflakes to hide anything you want to hide. I'm going to put one there. I got 2 small ones here and here, and another one there. Whoops, wrong lid. And then I have, oh, they're stuck to my sleeve. Okay. These last ones, there's 1. 2, 3. Okay, have a cozy day. That one is finished. All right, our last card is Warm Winter Wishes with this adorable little critter. This is the Woodland Critter die set from Lawn Fawn. And we've turned him into a little husky. There's cute little huskies in this paper line, and that's kind of where I was trying to grab him from. So we're going to build him up first, and then we'll put our card together. I think that's going to be the easiest way. That way we can get these little pieces out of our way and we don't lose them. So let's have our little critter looking at us. His arms fold in like so, but we're going to leave him open for now while we put him together. And we're going to start with this little semicircle here, or half of an oval, and that's going to go right there. That's like his little belly or his chest. And that goes, lines straight up at the bottom, and it's centered on there. All right. And then he has 2 little feet, so we can go ahead and put those on. We got one there and one there. And these are his little feet. And so all right. And then next, I know this seems odd, but we're going to grab this scarf. And so let me talk to you about the scarf. So on the scarf, I'm not even sure if you can tell or not on my hand, but it should be looking at you like this. So the curve is this way. And then right here and here, there's little notches that come in on the scarf. And that is made to go right where his arms come out. So right here, you're going to place that notch so that when you close his arms, that scarf doesn't get in the way, okay? So that's how that piece is going to go on. So let's go ahead and put that piece on now. Okay. So now when you fold him, his little arms don't get in the way of that, okay? And we did that first so that now we have kind of a place to put his little face here. If we put his face down too far, then we're gonna cover him up with the scarf. So it's up to you. You can pull it way up here. Mine is slightly overlapping the scarf. So I'm going to put some glue on that. And I will have it slightly overlapping the scarf, like so. So that's how that goes on. And then you have some different Post-it notes with lots of little pieces. So you do have snowflakes, those are for later. You have a mug and the hot chocolate, or the whipped cream, and a heart. And then these little black pieces are gonna be his eyes and his nose. And then this piece here is his tail, and this is the top of his tail. And then you have these little light pink pieces, which are his ears and his cheeks. So I'm gonna start with his nose. So I'm just gonna pull that off that Post-it. And put a little glue on the back. And that is going to go right where that little piece dips in there. His little nose is going to go there. Just like so. And then I do want it centered. There we go. And then his little eyes. So one here, one there. All right, so really you just want to try to line them up so they're straight like that. All right, so cute. And then we have these little insides of his ears. One there. And one there. Okay, and then his cheeks. And they're just gonna go right below the eyes. That. And you can leave that part off if you don't like that. Maybe you want it to look a little more masculine, you could take those off. All right, so there's his little face, and then I did add one detail. I used a white gel pen here, and I'm just going to add some like faux fur here. So 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm going to set him aside. Well, let's do this. Let's add his tail first. So his tail is going to kind of go on like that. So I'm going to put some glue right here. And keep them closed and kind of see where I want that to be. And then I'll put the top on. All right, now I'm going to set him aside to dry for now. And we'll build up the rest of our card. So there is your card base, and it is, we're going to put the black on first. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and this is going to go on the bottom, but it should match up. So, and then that's going to go like that. So I'll put this on first. Put the teal on. And that's going to go centered on that black heart paper. All right. And then this little guy is going to sit right centered right on that hill. So I'm going to tuck his arms in. No glue on the back of his arms. All right, we're just going to center him on there. He's off to the side a little bit so his tail fits. All right. So now we are going to mess with this little hot chocolate. So you have this little piece of foam or whipped cream that fits right in there. I'm just going to add a little glue to that, and it can kind of tuck in that slot there. So it looks like it's actually inside the cup. And then it's just going to look like he's holding it. So you can play around with where you want it so you can see. Now we are going to have that scarf coming, so you may want it over the side a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back. All right. And then this arm can get glued straight down. Okay, and then this arm I'm going to use some foam squares on. Just to add a little dimension. I think I'll add a couple. Or one large one would have been good. And we're going to close that like so. So there he is holding his little hot chocolate. And then this scarf is made, it has so it cuts out that, and this comes from the winter add-on, the Woodland Critters winter add-on. And then as you can see, there's like a score line right there. It's really made to fold, and then it would kind of tuck over that scarf like so. But because this is double-sided paper, that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is cut on that score line. And then we're just going to put one in front of the other so it has that same look. All right, so I do have that popped up. It's up to you. I think actually I'm going to glue down this one and pop up the front one. So, and then I just really lining it up here so that you don't want any of it poking out. We're going to cover it with this one, and we'll line that up like so. So let me go ahead and put a couple pieces of foam on the back of that. And then we're going to line that up with the scarf up top. All right, like so. So there's a little scarf, and now we need to add the sentiment and the snowflakes and we'll be all set. So I'm going to put some foam on the back of that as well. And that just is going to get centered at the bottom, like so. I'm going to put a little glue right here and add that heart. And then I'm going to finish off with these snowflakes. And I believe I have 3 on my card, but I think you got 4 in your kit. It's up to you what you want to use. I know that these little ones, when you cut out, you get 3 at once, and it was just easier to put them all in your kit than it was to try to count them out. And the larger one. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to use that one or not. I think I'm going to leave it off. Odd numbers are good. And that completes this card. It also completes the video for today. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again next time.